let's talk about another challenge that we're facing as a country. Now, the Eat Ghana Rice campaign is urging Ghanaians and corporate institutions to immediately switch to locally produced rice to avert a looming crisis in the agriculture sector. With 1.3 million metric tons of paddy rice reportedly lying unsold in warehouses nationwide, the campaign warned that failing to increase local consumption will devastate farmers and reverse grains made in domestic rice production. While acknowledging ongoing government support, the group insists that long-term solutions lie in Ghanaians choosing locally grown rice over imported brands to protect jobs, strengthen the economy, and safeguard national food security. Now, Dr. Nana Ama Amenia Opong, Enimopong of the Eat Ghana Rice campaign joins me via Zoom for more. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. First of all, paint a picture for us, especially because we have been seeing the statements from agribusiness. What immediate consequences do you foresee if the government fails to intervene within maybe the next 3 months?
Thank you very much for having me. There is a general challenge we have because the rice that we produced last year is still there. We don't have good storage facilities, and people have started harvesting more rice now. So that's why we have this 1.3 million metric tons of paddy that is just sitting. So if we don't mop it up and we don't eat it, what it means is that we're going to harvest more rice, and then we are even going to have a more serious problem in the coming days. Yeah.
Well, Doc, surprising because I thought everybody in Ghana loved rice. What do you think is the challenge? Why aren't we consuming it?
Well, we don't have just Ghana rice in the system. We have imported rice as well as Ghana rice. And initially, the challenge is that most people felt that Ghana rice was not good enough. But we have worked so far with the Ghana Standards Authority and the Food and Drugs Authority. And so now the quality of the Ghana rice we have is very, very good. So first of all, the purpose of the Eat Ghana Rice campaign is to make sure that people are tasting the Ghana rice, they're able to eat Ghana rice, and they enjoy choosing Ghana rice over the imported rice.
Right. This is a matter of palate and taste, right? And so beyond the campaign, what are you asking government at least to do? You have mentioned there are a lot of imported rice in this country, which I think that's impacting the consumption of the locally produced rice. What do you think government should do?
First of all, there are issues with land development. Rice is not like maize or the other crops, cassava, where you can just plant directly like that on any farm or piece of land. Rice needs proper land development. So we need to look at land development issues. So look at the whole chain so that we get a consistent supply of rice, not just production. What tends to happen is that we have rice, we do a campaign, everybody should eat Ghana rice, and then we consume Ghana rice, and then we don't have enough again for the consumers. And so as a result of that, then people switch to the foreign rice. So what we're saying is that government should support right from the beginning where we are producing the rice, and especially to input supply, as well as supporting with some of the millers to be able to mobilize funds. They need funds to be able to buy the paddy from the farmers. Let me quickly add that when they were producing last year, we had this dollar CD issue. So farmers bought inputs at very high cost, fertilizer, seed, and all of those things at very high cost. And at the time that they started harvesting, then the CD started stabilizing and the dollar was also going down. And so what that meant was that then it became very cheap to bring in foreign rice as compared to the Ghana rice. And so now the farmers are stuck. They produce at very high quality cost, and yet they can't sell at the same cost. So in that sense, that's where government should also intervene and make sure that buffer stock is buying at appreciable prices so that farmers don't make too much of a loss. Whilst we also go on with the campaign for people to buy Ghana rice.
Well, Doug, you know that people will be people, right? How tough do you think the government should be? If you look at the agribusiness statement again, and I like to reference that, they mentioned that the LI 2432, I think it regulates soybeans. That is quite straightforward. It at least puts a ban on the importation, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you want the government to be very tough on the importation of rice so that we don't have a choice? Because, of course, I think if you left people, they will make choices.
Yeah. We are it's a gradual restriction in the importation. As you know, we don't produce as much rice as we need. So if we do 100% ban at this point, then we might run into problems. But we are looking at cutting restrictions, and we should be persistent with it. Because sometimes we say, okay, we are banning it partially, and then before we realize, we open it up again, and there's smuggling from neighboring countries and all of that. So government, we should be consistent. If we insist that this year we are bringing in 40% of imported rice, then we stay with it and we do it across the years instead of the moving up and down. Sometimes we open it up and sometimes we don't.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Opondia, for joining us on the news today. We'll carry the campaign along with you. Now,